Hi guys, I'm Grace. This is my bedroom. Hold on, a special treat. This is my dog Cash. He's in a bumblebee outfit because the rain stresses him out and it makes him feel better. Look at him. Okay, you can come back over here now. Anyways, and this is Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter by Erika L. Sanchez. So basically in this book, we have our main homegirl, Julia. Not Julia. She's tired of people calling her Julia. It's Julia. And all we really know about Julia opening up is her sister Olga is dead. She got hit by a truck. Yeah, so moving on. Julia hasn't been super happy with her family life, prior to Olga dying. Her and Olga are first generation Americans. They live in Chicago. Her parents immigrated from Mexico. So they're kind of constantly feeling the, tension of their parents' culture and the culture they're born into. Julia says she feels more comfortable speaking in English than in Spanish, which her parents just don't quite understand, and she feels her mom wants her to be able to make tortillas and be ready to become a good Mexican wife and a mother, and she's just like, no, why would I can't make the tortillas. I'm bad at making tortillas. Julia's real bad at making tortillas. But then after Olga dies, because the whole thing was like Olga was the perfect Mexican daughter. She stayed at home after high school. She went to community college for years and worked as a secretary, brought her paychecks home, was there to take care of Emma and Appa, their parents. But one day Julia is, laying in Olga's bedroom for comfort, and she finds out this might not be the case because you know what she finds? A box of lingerie and a hotel key. Olga, excuse me, what were you doing with all that? You perfect Mexican daughter. A perfect Mexican daughter wouldn't have this box of lingerie. No. So Julia's like, I gotta get to the bottom of this. What's all this about? There's the hotel key card. She's trying to go through her laptop. Maybe there's, clues. But her mom, Emma, catches her and she's like, get out of Olga's room if I catch you in here again. So she locks her out and Julia's not allowed in there, and she just feels further disconnected from her sister and further rejected from her mom. It's not great. And then in all this tension and unhappiness Julia's experiencing, her mom decides that she's gonna have a quinceañera. Okay, yeah, except that Julia turned 15 almost a year ago. She's actually about to turn 16. That is not tradition, and Julia knows that they're only having this party because Olga never got a quinceañera, so now her mom wants to give it to her, even though it's really for Olga. So things kind of blow up at the quinceañera. Julia's just not capable of behaving in the way that her mom wants her to, and it makes things super tense. Meanwhile, Julia's going around trying to get together with Olga's old friends and just trying to figure out what was it about Olga that she didn't know. And basically everyone is like, dude, she's already dead. Don't be disrespecting her memory like this. You need to let it go. You need to move on. Why are you so stuck on this? Which doesn't help her at all. But until she meets a cute little white boy named Connor. Yeah, it's Connor. She's at the library where she goes to read books, and he comes up to her and is like, oh my god, I love reading books. And she's like, oh my god, I love the smell of reading books. Books smell good. And he's like, oh, you're so weird and cute and quirky, and he really likes it, and they make jokes, and then they go to a coffee shop, and they walk around, and they have a perfect teenage first date. Even though Julia knows that they kind of come from different backgrounds, she's very immersed in her neighborhood and all of the different cultures that come together in her neighborhood, and he's much more of a typical upper middle class white suburban boy. And she knows that doesn't necessarily define him, but she still feels embarrassed and feels like she can't fully relate to him on that field. She kind of walks down to other houses for him to pick her up because she doesn't want him to know where she lives. Yeah, but other than that, Connor's a good guy, and he finds out about, Julia tells him about this Olga stuff, and he's like, I can help you. He's like, I know how to hack. I can get into this girl's email. And she's like, oh, no way. But before he can help her get into the email, Julia gets back into Olga's bedroom, and she's like, I'm going to take the laptop and the box of stuff so that when I get locked out again, I have the things I need to, figure out what's going on here. And then Emma finds the box in Julia's room. So she's like, Julia, you slut, what are you doing? Like, you sleeping around with boys? And she's like, well, I am, because at this point her and Connor have had sex. In her mind, she's like, well, I am, but these aren't even mine. But in real life, what is she supposed to do? No, those are your dead daughters. Surprise, surprise. So she just takes the punishment. She's like, I'm sorry, I'm not having sex, I promise. And she's like, yes, you are. And she's like, okay. So Emma puts her on super lockdown, grounding, and Julia is so deeply unhappy. And she's trying to, kind of find escape in, her goals for the future. She wants to be a writer. She wants to go away to college, even though her parents want her to stay at home. She wants to go away, and she's the teacher, encouraging her writing and stuff. But it's just not quite enough. She feels so alone and so sad. And then one day she goes to go call Connor. She's been grounded for a while, I think maybe about a month. And she calls him, and he's like, I love you, I miss you, but I don't really know how to keep having this relationship if I can't see you. And she freaks out. She's like, God, the last person I have, okay. So she's like, well, I guess you're breaking up with me, and hangs up the phone, and then tries to kill herself. Oops. So she does that. Apa finds her. They take her to the emergency room. She's immediately like, I don't know why I did that. I'm sorry. I'm fine. I don't know why I tried to do that. But they put her in inpatient treatment for about a week. In there, she really starts to kind of, gain more perspective on her life, starts to understand how little she knows about her mother and why her mother might feel this way. She meets other kids who are there for similar reasons as her, but all have different backgrounds, all have different stories. And it's really where she starts to mature. She starts to, kind of realize that other people experience the same thing she does, but from a different, lead up of experiences. So that's cool for her, and she's starting to feel better. She's on medication, she kind of is finally having someone to talk to about this stuff. And then she goes home, and Emma and Appa tell her that she's being shipped off to Mexico. That's how she sees it. They're like, we're just sending you there. And she's like, you're shipping me off. How am I supposed to get better in Mexico? And then right before she gets shipped off, she tries to guess the password to Olga's computer. Turns out Olga had a boyfriend that whole time and she was lying about it. She wasn't going to community college with the times that she said she had classes. She was really going to meet up with him. So Julia's like, whoa, what? And then she goes to Mexico, is unable to do anything about it, but she has a really nice reprieve in Mexico. As soon as she gets there, she's like kind of shocked by, she forgot how much she loved being there as a child. And she's just filled with all kinds of comfort. The women in her family, they're tell her she's so beautiful and her mother must be so proud, and she doesn't hear that from people very often, so it's really helpful for her. And she just kind of gets back in touch with herself. She eats a lot of food, and she really just kind of gets she gets really into all of the ceremony and the tradition of cooking all day, and just how they spend. Part 2. And then when they're in Mexico, she befallen for this honey named Andreas, and she's like, ooh, I still miss Connor and everything, but this haughty Mexican man, I ain't gonna say nothing against that either. So yeah, that's a side thing. And then one day she's coming back to Mama Jacinta's house. That's what it is. Yeah, and she finds these beautiful sketches, and she's like, who did these? They're so good. And Mama Jacinta is like, your papa, Apa, did those. And she's like, no way. She's like, why did I never know this? This man rarely speaks to me. He's hardly even there, He sits in his chair, and it's like he could be there or could not, Julia's not gaining anything from her relationship with him. And Mama Jacinta, I'm almost positive that's who she's talking to. It could be someone else in her family. Somebody in her family is telling her about how he lost that, about how he loved art, and then just telling her how bad their immigration from Mexico was. And they tell her that her mother was sexually assaulted by one of the coyotes while Apa was forced to, at gunpoint, just to watch. Heavy sad, and she's like, this explains so much, and she's, you know, like really feeling that pain that her dad must have felt, and she just understands them a lot better. So when she comes back from Mexico, which she had to leave urgently because they're at a party and there's a shooting, there's some gang violence in the area. They came and took money from her grandfather, you know, like protection money, but still she ends up watching someone get shot in the street. And they're all, you know, deeply apologetic. We would never have brought you here. Things have been less violent, a lot more calm the last couple of years. We wouldn't have brought you here if it hadn't been. So they send her back to Chicago really urgently, and her mom is really sorry that she had to be there for that violence, and she tells her she never would have sent her there if she had known. But they're finally able to connect, and Julia doesn't tell her mom what she knows, but just knowing it helps her understand her mom's point of view a lot more, and helps her understand her experience. And she gets back into the laptop. Another plot twist. Olga was pregnant with this man who has a wife, was constantly telling Olga that he was going to leave his wife any day and was going to be with her for the baby. In the last email that Olga had sent him, said something along the lines of, why weren't you there today? I left the ultrasound at your office. I wish you loved me, or something. And that was the day that Olga got hit by a bus. Yeah, so she was pregnant the whole time. This ish crazy. Let's see. Julia gets back in touch with Connor. They have a great date. She fills her in on everything she found out. And she asks Apa why he doesn't draw anymore, and asks him if maybe he would. It's all really sweet, and she's starting to find closure, or not even closure, but just kind of like a meeting point with the people in her life, with Emma and Appa, you know, now understanding where they came from. And she wants to share this secret about Olga, that she knows that Olga wasn't the perfect Mexican daughter either. But she just can't quite reason with if the heartbreak that it would cause people would be worth it. So she basically just keeps it a secret to herself, except not to the man who was the father of Olga's baby. She finds him and gives him the ultrasound and is like, I'm her sister. And he's like, I'm so sorry, I really did love her, whatever. And Julia is like, yeah, he tells her that he wanted to marry her. Yeah, nothing really happens. Yeah, I was trying to think, did I forget what something that happened? No, she's basically just like, yeah, too late for my sister. And then she walks away. Yeah, that's, yep. Anyway, so that's cool. Then she goes to college. She gets a new good college. She's doing well there. She's excited to move on with her life with her friends. Her and Connor are going to stay in touch, but there's no labels because they want to focus on their school. And basically, Julia still feels like she is not the perfect Mexican daughter, but she knows now that no one really is, you know? And that is this book. Over and out.